You know, 4 seasons or so, I used to only do them on Facebook, and then I was like, well, you know, what if I drop one of them on my YouTube channel? Used to just do scratch tickets and just random stuff, and then started doing these. One thing I've never been is a quitter. One thing I've also never been is somebody who tucks my head between my legs. Wait a minute, I said that wrong. Tucks my tail between my legs, buries my head in the sand, and goes away after a loss. Never been one to do it. Guess what? Never going to be one to start doing it now. There's not a whole lot that I can say, guys, anymore. There's not a whole lot more that I can say about the way that I feel about our football team and about the coaching staff. I mean, I have been on here steady since the first week of 2019. Clamoring for a change in the head coaching position. It didn't happen like I wanted it to. Unfortunately, it is what it is. I have no control over that. But man, if last night didn't do it, then nothing else will. Nothing else will. And please don't get me wrong here. Please don't read into what I'm saying and think that I'm one of these sour ass fans, these little mealy mouth fuckers who want to see our team lose the rest of their games just so that we can have a coaching change. I'm not going to do that, and you'll never see me do that. You'll never see me do that. You will never see me congratulate us playing poorly. You'll never see me get excited after a loss. You just won't. There are people that say that, and that's a shoddy ass portion of the fan base. There are actually people out there like that. There really are, that want us to. It's not just with us. There are other teams too. Other teams going through trying times. Yeah, I mean it's been well documented. I mean, you got shit like talking about New York Jets tanking, trying to lose games so they can land Trevor Lawrence and all this crazy stuff. I don't play that, man. I don't play that. I don't play the wanting to lose just so that we can get a change. A change is going to happen. Change is going to happen. Okay, it may be later than I would like it to. It may be sooner, and that would be great. But something's got to happen. Just looking at last night's game, holy shit. And I'm also not one of these on here. I've got people I see on Facebook. I see people out there talking about, well, I haven't worn my Gamecock shit all year. Well, I'm not wearing it right now because I had it on earlier. Now, I'm not going to not wear my Gamecock stuff just because the fucking team's losing. I've worn my Gamecock stuff out to go on a soda and lottery ticket run the next morning on Sunday morning after some of these Clemson ass kickings we've got in the past few years. I just have. I mean, I'm not ashamed of it. If you're ashamed of it, then I mean, fucking go cheer for somebody else, I guess, because you don't belong here. I mean, you don't. You just don't, man. I ain't telling people how to dress, tell you what to do, tell you what kind of flags put on your car, stickers put on your vehicle, a book bag to buy your children, nothing else. But I mean, that's just piss poor. Looking at last night's game, Texas A&M, 38 minutes holding the ball. South Carolina, 21. Texas A&M, 26 first downs. South Carolina, 9. Texas A&M total offensive production in this game. Jibby, 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 diggy, diggy, diggy. Where is it? 530 yards. South Carolina, 150 yards. They had 7.4 yards per play. South Carolina had 2.8 yards per play. 100 passing yards. I mean, it's painful. It's painful to look at. It's painful to look at. I got on here last night. I got really upset at the beginning of the game because we weren't giving the ball to Kevin Harris to let him run it a little bit more. In his press conference this morning, which we'll get into that here in a minute, Muschamp said that it was because they were stacking the box. Well, so what? Let them stack the fucking box. You know what? Block better. Block better. Eventually, you're going to break one. He's that talented, and he did eventually break one for like 20-something yards. That's really all they could muster. Last night was the lowest point, I believe, that I've seen at South Carolina. I have been a fan. Mind you, I went to my first game in 1980 when I was 5 years old. I'm going to be 46 years old on my next birthday, which will be in December. So I'm 45 now. And I've seen some stinkers, man. I've seen some damn stinking ass games, and some really low points. Shit. I remember when I was really young. We went 4-7 one year. A coach we had named Richard Bell that only coached there 1 year, and they fired him. This was back before they had all these massive contracts. And the next year we got Joe Morrison, the man in black. He came in and, he won 5 games that year. He beat Southern California at home. Stadium started shaking a little bit. You could tell something magical was fixing to happen. And the next year it did. We went 10-2, went to the Gator Bowl, lost. But that was the highest that we had been ranked up until that point. There's been some decent seasons there with him in 1987, 88, 89. All were solid years. And I remember in 1988, I do remember being at home, a home game, and we played Florida State. Well, they were ranked like number 4 in the country. We were ranked like number 11. And that was a Florida State team that had Deion Sanders on it. They had a quarterback named Peter Tom Willis. Running back, I think, was Sammy Smith. Anyway, they beat us 59-0. 59-0. And last night's performance was even more abysmal than that, because that Florida State team was inherently more talented than that Texas A&M team last night. Nothing, I'm not disparaging Texas A&M in any way. They got a good quarterback. Hats off to Kellen Mond. The running back, the Spiller guy, he's decent, but I mean, hell, he was hurt most of that ball game. If you watch, he was limping around a lot. I mean, and he still went for well over 100 yards. Imagine what he could have done if he wasn't hurt. I mean, holy shit. But I do remember the fans booing at that game, and I didn't participate in it because I was like 13 years old. Not booing anybody, but I remember losing to Clemson 45-0 the next year at home, and they booed. And then I was a little older, and I did boo that time too. But there's been some down points. 1992, we started out 0-6. And the players kind of like had a locker room revolt against the head coach, Sparky Woods, at the time. Ended up winning our next 5 games, though. So they finished a 5-6, a respectable 5-6. They beat a ranked Tennessee team, and they beat Clemson. Shitty Clemson team, but they beat them. Sorry. That was a really low point at that time. There was a lot of booing in the stands that year until they turned it around. 1998, the team went 1-10. There was a lot of booing that year too. 1999, they went 0-11 under Lou Holtz, but actually there was a little bit more optimism that year than there was the 1998 season, because we knew that we could probably turn it around with the staff that we had and with the players we had, and we did. Fast forward through, there's been a couple bad losses to Clemson here and there. 2000, what was it, 16, 56-7, the Never Again game where the Deeble Dobblers still talk about to this day. And those were some embarrassing points. But last night, that just hit rock bottom. That just hit a new low for me. Because, number one, you got your ass kicked 2 weeks ago. So you would think that something could change. You would think that that these players would be motivated. They would be a little bit angry. They'd be a lot pissed off. That they would practice hard, and that they would come out and give a much, much better effort. The opposite happened. They were worse. They were worse. If you take away, LSU scored 52 points. If you take away the pick six and you take away the kickoff return for a touchdown, that was a 38-24 ball game, which the score looks a lot more respectable then when you put it in those terms. This one, you had nothing positive happen in this game. Nothing. You had not one damn positive thing happen in this game. I mean, it's just point blank. So that's what made this one even worse. And, honestly, I will tell you, I'm not just a Gamecock fan. And, of course, being a Gamecock fan, you know how I feel about the Taters. And, of course, I wanted to watch that game against Notre Dame. I mean, of course, I wanted to watch it, but I planned on flipping back and forth between our game and that one. Putting theirs up here on my iPad, watching it while I watch mine on the main TV. Third quarter, iPad was switched to something different. That was switched to Arkansas and Tennessee. The main screen, went for the freaking Clemson game. I actually turned ours off, and that's rare. That's rare. Even if we are really getting our ass shredded, I'll continue to watch the game just to see what happens and see if we might, make some kind of something respectable happen out of it. But this one, I knew that there was nothing positive happening. So, shit, just turn it off. The players look like, after the second drive, they looked to me like they quit. They look like me like they quit. The coaching staff is, I don't know, guys. I don't know what else I can say about it. I can't make any more bones about it. There's been all kind of rumors today on Twitter, on news stuff in newspapers out of Columbia area, talking about Will Muschamp, talking about he could either be let go late today or early on Monday. And if that happens, it happens. But I won't believe it until I see it. And quite honestly, I think it's nothing more than that. I think it's just rumors. And I think if that doesn't happen by the close of business tomorrow, like 6 o'clock, it won't happen until the end of the year, and it just won't. And let's just be quite frank, it would make a little more sense for it to happen at the end of the year. That'll cost them a little less money if they do it at the end of the year. And there will be good coaches out there still. I don't think that there are going to be that many programs getting rid of their coach this year just because of the COVID, because let's face it, most teams have been impacted by the COVID some way or another. Most of them have. Those coaches have a built-in excuse. Muschamp does not have a built-in excuse. Knock on wood, thank God, South Carolina hasn't been affected by the COVID. They haven't. I mean, I'm sure there have been some people sit out some practices. I'm sure they've had a few guys here and there that have been affected, but you didn't know who they were, and some obviously players you never heard of before. I know there was some stuff back later in the summer that possibly there may have been a few cases on the team, but other than that, we've been pretty lucky. So that could actually be the final nail in his coffin, and the security blanket that would have prevented him from getting the axe this year. Even with the COVID, where I come from, I still think there's accountability. There's accountability somewhere. You can't You cannot use that as an excuse for everything that happens or has gone wrong. And you can't use it as an out. Unfortunately, a lot of people are. There are a lot of lazy, going ahead and say it, lazy pieces of shit sitting on their ass at home right now, drawing a damn check instead of getting out there and getting herself a damn job at one of these places. If you go cruise, up and down the damn boulevard in whichever respective city or closest big town to wherever you happen to live at, if you live way out in the country or somewhere, like I wish I did right now, you'll see hiring signs literally every 50 yards at different establishments, fast food places, grocery stores, retail stores. I mean, wherever. There are jobs to be had out there. They might not be making the money that some of these people might want to make, but nonetheless, it's a job. It's something. And to me, that's more honorable than sitting around drawing a damn check. It just is. I mean, if you have the ability to work, if you're disabled, that's one thing. That's something totally different. And don't think that I'm sitting here casting stones at those people. I'm not. I'm talking about the lazy people who lost their job because of COVID, and now they won't get out and go do what a real man or a real woman does and find a job and go to work. They just won't, because they like sitting at home being lazy and cashing a check. But that's another story for another time. Muschamp today in his press conference, or last night in his press conference, these things are like his pressers anymore they make me want to smack him. They are canned garbage. It's the same old stuff. Here you go. Here's a prime example. This is how every press conference goes. We will have this line in here at some point in time or another. Okay, stop it right there.
Will, can you hear me? What's your message to the fan base? Some of whom may be a little...
Good. I hope they're pissed off, and that's fine. And in the last two performances, I don't think there's any doubt they should be disappointed with how we played and performed and how we coached. We're going to continue to work, and we've had success here. Our first 3 years as a tenure, we had won more games than any other coach did.
So there you go. Stop it right there. Stop right there, Will. How many times you going to use that, sir? How many times you going to tell everybody about the first 3 years you were at South Carolina? About you winning more games than any coach who's been there in your first 3 years compared to their first 3 years. How long are we going to hold on to that for? Okay. Well, that's all you can do is talk about those 3 years. You don't want to talk about your fourth year, do you? You don't want to talk about going 4-8. Oh, but you beat Georgia, right? You beat Georgia. You don't want to talk about you lost to App State either, or that you lost to your old man, Mac Brown. You don't want to talk about losing to Daddy. Speaking of daddies, you don't want to talk about Dabo's game either, do you? That year. Now, you don't want to discuss none of that shit. Somehow, to me, it seems to me like he's taking shots at, first of all, at Steve Spurrier. It also seems like he's taking shots at Lou Holtz. Let me be frank with you, sir. The SEC East, as a majority, not and Florida fan, don't sit here and get your damn panties in a wad. Those first 3 years Muschamp was talking about, as a whole, the SEC East had one team, and it was Georgia. Actually, in 2016, Tennessee was a better team than any of those. But I digress. Spurrier's first 3 years and the first 3 years of Lou Holtz, you had Georgia, Tennessee, and Florida. All three of those teams were powerhouses. Hell, Steve Spurrier's first 3 years, I think that Florida was in the national championship conversation all 3 of those years. Georgia was probably a top 5 team, and Tennessee was a top 10 team. And Lou Holtz's first 3 years, Tennessee was a national championship contender. So was Florida, and I think Georgia was probably a top 10 team. So the competition that those guys faced was a little bit tougher than the competition you're facing. Sorry, sir, I hate to bust your bubble. Also, we knew that those were just growing pains and that we would see success with those individuals. I didn't see the same success with you coming down the road, okay? I knew it wasn't going to happen because I seen your track record at Florida. You're fucking awful. And I could see the same things in 2018 trending the same way. Actually, I could see it in 2017. And we went 9-4. We lost to, or we beat a bunch of abysmal teams, and we won a bowl game against Michigan where they had 2 or 3 NFL draft picks who sat the game out. Whoop-de-doo. And then they give you that big contract extension. I wasn't pleased about it at the time, and I thought it was the wrong move. And but there we go. There we go. They made too much out of nothing, and see where it got us at. Let's go on and finish seeing what he had to say there.
To have success here, and I think we've recruited well. I think we've got good players in our program. I'm disappointed with our last 2 outings.
Again, just more lies and bullshit. I mean, we're going to have, we look forward to having continued future success. What success are you having right now, sir? What success are you having? Beating Vanderbilt? Beating the Auburn team when they give you the ball 3 or 4 times? That's the success we're having? Jesus, man. Jeez. That's just the thing. And then looking on the other end of the spectrum, at Clemson, they lost last night, but was that really satisfying if you're a Gamecock fan? I mean, was it really satisfying? Now, a few years ago, when they got beat by Syracuse on that Friday night, that one was really satisfying because it was fun, because we were actually doing decent then. We were doing decent. We were picking up some wins, and we were supposedly trending upward. So that one was kind of satisfying to see them fall flat on their face and flatline. Last night's, it wasn't as satisfying to me. You know why? Because I know that if they run the table and win the ACC championship game, they're going to be right back in the damn playoffs again. They're going to be right back there. I want to see them lose a game that knocks them out of the playoffs. And that wasn't it last night. They had too many key players out. And the playoff committee is going to look at that. They're going to look at it and how many times they've been in that damn championship game, whether you like it or not, or whether I like it or not. It's fact. It's just fact. Okay? But it was a great game. It was a great game. I enjoyed watching it. I really did. And yes, I wanted to see you lose, but if you had won, I wouldn't have been that upset because that was a great game, and I enjoyed watching that just as a fan. The last the 45 minutes to hour of it, TV-wise, I mean, I was just glued to my seat. I couldn't leave and stop watching that. Now, think about this, Gamecock fans, and this is why I've titled this video this way. The gap between our program and theirs right now, it is at an absolute all-time high. The gap is wider right now than it has ever been. The only thing that you have to do, if you don't believe that, watch that game. Go back and watch it. I want you to fast forward it almost until the very end. Almost to the very end. And watch all the Notre Dame students and fans pouring out of the stands, jumping over the wall onto the field, and mobbing the team themselves and everything else in sight at 50-yard line. And the field being totally filled up right in a COVID year. And no social distancing there. You think a win over South Carolina would ever cause that kind of reaction? No. Everybody would just laugh, go tailgate, have another beer, and watch the other games on the big screen TV. I mean, after it's over with, because, I mean, at this point, it's just expected. It's just expected. That freshman quarterback he would throw for 600 yards on us if they let him this year if we played them. They really would. It has gotten that bad. So at this point, I'm not saying I've given up on the season. I've given up on any hopes of breaking even. We're 2-5 right now. We would have to. No, we're 2-4. Excuse me. We have to win 3 of our last 4 ball games to go 5-5. We're not doing that. This is what I see left on the schedule, and this is how I think it's going to break down. I saw that Ole Miss opened up as a 6.5 home favorite. This coming up Saturday night in Oxford. If you're a bettor, take your ass off the couch, sprint to the pay window, and lay down whatever you want to on Ole Miss to cover that spread, because they're going to. They're going to score early, often, and it's going to be ugly. Now, do I think South Carolina will score in that game? Yes, I do. I envisioned a 21-point loss, like a 50-something to 30-something game. Right now, looking at the offensive production last night, I see another 52. I could see another score like the LSU game. That's why I could. I don't know why the odds makers keep putting faith in South Carolina that these games will be that tight. But if you bet South Carolina in that game to cover, you're just dumb and you're football ignorant, and you haven't watched the down all year. That's all I got to say about that one. So that's going to be a loss. The next week is a home game against Missouri. I really, at this point, don't know what they are. They've missed a couple of games now. Well, they missed a game against Vanderbilt, which would have been a win for them. I think they're going to make that up at the end of the year. And the game against Florida was pushed back, and then they got it pushed in when they were looking pretty decent. So I don't know what to expect from them there, but I do think that they'll be able to move the ball and stretch the field vertically against us. So I'm putting that one down as a loss. The Georgia game it's going to be a loss. Can they throw the ball? No, they don't have a passing attack. We know this. We understand that. By the way, prayers going out to that young man like yesterday afternoon in that game, that Rosemary St. Jack guy. Caught the touchdown pass. Yeah, I don't know if y'all saw the way his ankle turned in that. God almighty, that was hard to watch. And, oh, man, he was in some real pain after that. That kid's going to be okay. That was bad. But we're not beating them. They'll just run the ball every down. Hell, they might not throw or attempt to pass the entire game and win the thing 31-0. Who comes after that? Kentucky. How could I forget Kentucky? End of the year. I don't know. They look like trash too. I mean, they really look bad. But they'll beat us. And that game will be just an ugly one where we won't be able to score, and they probably won't be able to score a lot. So I mean, I could see like losing 28-7, something like that. Heck, who knows? I mean, they could find their wheels offensively, and it could end up 42-7 or something like that, 42-10. And that will be, I expect that to be Will Muschamp's last game. I don't expect that it was last night, but once again, guys, I don't know. Anything could happen. I mean, hell, they could have made an announcement while I'm sitting here jibber-jabbering on this phone, talking to you people about how disappointed I am right now in my football team. But that's that. Anyway, in closing, I'd just like to say, if you're a fan of this team, if you're a Gamecock, if you're a true Gamecock fan, right now is when you're going to show it. Because you'll be back next week. You'll be back to watch the game against Ole Miss. You'll put your Garnet shirt on. You know, you'll take your Garnet book bag to school with you. You'll keep the Garnet mouse pad with your laptop. You'll keep writing with that Gamecock pen. You know, because it's what you do, because you're a fan. You don't quit on them just because it looks like they've quit on themselves. You stay there and keep pulling for the damn team. Because at the end of the day, this was my team way before Will Muschamp and his staff showed up here. And this will be my team long after Will Muschamp and his staff are gone. And if you're considering jumping off the wagon right now, tell you what, we could get us a guy down here to fix this shit. And if we're in Atlanta in 3-4 years, don't come back around. Don't come back around pulling that stuff out of the trunk, pulling it out of the trunk of the car, pulling it out of the box you put it in, running over to Academy Sports, buying you another one. Don't do it. Just don't. Just go away if you're going to go away. That's all I got to say to you. One last little thing is, this one just, I'd forgotten about this. I was going to talk about it too. The Gunnar Stockton deal. Everybody's talking about Gunnar Stockton, man. Y'all fire Muschamp. Gunnar Stockton going to decommit. Right? Gunnar Stockton going to decommit. If y'all fire Muschamp, boy, you better watch out what you're doing. He's going to take Bobo with him, and Gunnar Stockton's going to be gone. He's going to decommit. Gunnar Stockton is a great kid. He's a great football player. He's an outstanding high school talent. I would not deny that. But here's the thing. Gunnar Stockton can't block for you. Gunnar Stockton can't stand in your backfield and run the football 25 times a game for you. Gunnar Stockton can't play center for you. Gunnar Stockton can't play defensive back for you, and Gunnar Stockton's not a linebacker. You get what I'm saying? One guy is not worth keeping a program buried for a few more years. It's just not. If he leaves, or if he decommits, he decommits. And he goes somewhere else. It wasn't meant to be. But don't hold back. Don't hold back is all I'm begging of that athletic department down there. Just over one player? Nah, man. No, don't. Don't hold back. You pull the trigger if you got to pull the trigger. And you need to. It's sorely needed. It's sorely needed right now. That's about all I got to say about that, guys. I'm going to recap my picks against the spread a little bit later on this evening. Looking at it, just, because, I don't officially tally this up until I tally it up with you all. I did pretty decent yesterday. Seemed like I got out of the hole maybe a little bit. So we'll go over those later on. I will see y'all later. If you enjoyed the content here, please hit it with a thumbs up. Subscribe to the Carolina Jackpot channel if you're not subscribed to it already. And I will see y'all later. Appreciate it. Go Gamecocks, baby. Still Spurs up to my toes up. Fire Coach Boom. Woo!